Hey guys, today's video is going to focus on how to create black soul gems in Oblivion Remastered. We're going to keep this one short and sweet, so let's get right to it. Simply put, black soul gems let you collect human souls, and that gives you the ability to create the most powerful enchantments possible, similar to what you can do with grand soul gems. The thing that I think makes black soul gems a lot better is that you can fill them a lot more easily, as there's just a lot more human enemies that you encounter than you do creatures and monsters that have grand souls. So with that, let's talk about how and where you make them. To make a black soul gem, you're going to need three things, which we're going to expand on throughout this video. First, you're going to need at least one empty grand soul gem. It has to be empty for the creation of a black soul gem to work. Second, you're going to need to find a necromancer altar. There are 4 throughout Cyrodiil, which I'll cover in the locations chapter of the video. And 3, you're going to need to hit the necromancer altar with a soul trap spell during a day in which the Shade of the Revenant is visible. I'll talk more about what that means later in the video and how you can ensure you're doing this on the right day. This is super important because if you try the ritual on the wrong day, it's not going to work, even if you do everything else on the list. Let's start with the easiest thing on the list, which is finding empty grand soul gems. You can usually find empty grand soul gems in the Coral Mages Guild on the display cabinets there in the lobby. There's about 2 or 3 that you can pick up, and these are basically free, so 3 free ones to get started. You can also buy them from shops like the Mystic Emporium in Imperial City, as well as different NPCs from the various Mages Guild locations. You can also find them as random loot in different caves and ruins, but it's usually easier to just buy them at one of the NPCs, as they're usually going to replenish the stock and you'll just be able to keep going back there and buying some when you're in need. Once you have at least one empty soul gem, you're going to need to place it into a necromancer altar, which gets us to item number 2, location of necromancer altars. There are 4 different locations with necromancer altars, which I've listed here in the map. 2 of the locations are within close proximity to Kvatch, and they're probably the easiest ones to get to. You can also use the altar at Dark Fissure Cave, which is southeast of Cheydinhal, near the Reed River, or you can use the one at the Albeit ruin called Wendelbeck, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's east of Breville, north of Leeuwin, so not a big fan of that one, as it's just not the easiest one to get to. But whatever location you pick, once you get to the altar and you place your grand soul gems into the altar the way you would place items into a storage chest, you're ready to create the black soul gems. So creating the black soul gems kind of involves 2 different things. You need to hit the altar with a soul trap once you put the empty grand soul gem inside, but you're going to need to do this during one of these Shade of the Revenant days that I mentioned earlier. To check what day it is, you can refer to the character menu. For this particular video, I created the black soul gems on day 89, and the next time I would be able to do this is day 97. So you're basically finding a multiple of 8 and adding 1 to find the next Shade of Revenant day. Another way to ensure you're on the right day is to look up at the sky. If you're on the right day, you should be able to see like a red light beaming down from the heavens that looks similar to what you see on my screen here. That might look slightly different depending on your settings, but it should be like a red light of some sort. The Shade of the Revenant day could be different for you if your character has been in jail. Apparently the days that you spent in jail can impact the count of the days and the day on which your Shade of Revenant falls. So if you think you're trying this on the right day and it's a multiple of 8 plus 1 and it's not happening, then double check that, and it might have changed your day 1 or 2 days forward. If you are doing this on the right day, each soul spell hit should convert 1 grand soul gem into 1 black soul gem, and you can make as many as you want over that 24-hour period. For this to work, you do have to hit the altar with a soul trap spell. You can't just use an enchanted weapon that has the soul trap spell in it, such as the Ambra sword or any other sword. And you can buy the low-level version of the soul trap spell from Albrecht Little in the Coral Mages Guild. In order to be able to use it, you're going to need to have mysticism be level 25, and you can get there pretty quickly if you buy Detect Life spell from Edgar's Discount Spells in Imperial City, and then just use the spell extensively until you hit level 20. One of the mages in the Coral Mages Guild also offers mysticism training, so you can use him for a couple levels as well. And once you have your newly created black soul gems, you can head over to any caves or ruins that have bandits or other humanoid type enemies in order to charge them up. Eventually the enemies in these locations will respawn, so lots of options to pick from there. And that gets us to the end of today's video. Black soul gems and where to find them. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please comment below. Happy soul hunting.